Welcome to the first episode of What's in Your Case from the Megabucks Amateur Pool League. We're here at Steinway Billiards, and I'm here with Duc Lam. Hello, Duc.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm good.
So can you tell us a little bit about the cues that you have in your case?
Yeah, sure. I have a bunch of cues I have. In my Witten case is a 3x6. So basically allows me to put in basically 3 butts and 6 shafts. The first cue that I have in here is a Predator Air that I acquired. Maybe I have it for about 2 or 3 years. I've been using it, and it's been pretty useful for jumping, short jump, and long jump. I also have this little stick that you can also put in there. This is basically a spacer removal on the Witten case. So it allowed me to adjust my case for the height of my cues that I have, because I have multiple cues sometimes I play with that I switch often for different tournaments. One of the main cue that I'm playing with right now is a Predate Southwest. So this is an older cue. The Predate Southwests are basically anything before 1993 from Southwest cues, and they don't really have a mark on there. So I usually, because the case can only hold 3 butt and 6 shaft, I usually have about 4 or 5 shaft for the Southwest, but the one that I play with is generally the one that I bring out. So in this one I have a is a little bit longer Southwest shaft that was custom made for this Predate Southwest cue, and this specific Southwest cue was made in 1989 to 1990. And I had a custom elephant ear wrap that was put on that. And this cue was actually sent back to Lori to get the letter of authenticity, which I keep at home. So it's one of my main playing cue. So I usually bring a few cue out because depending on the condition of the table and stuff, I switch cues, and I play with different cue often. This second cues I have in here that is my playing cue as well is a David Keuchel cue, and this was from the 1996 cue. It's a fairly older cue, and I've been playing with this cue for about maybe 5-6 years now. So it's like I've been taking it on and off for, again, depending on what tournament I play and how well I want to play, I bring out certain cues. So this cue here is actually a very nice cue that David, I think I'm pronouncing it right, Keuchel, K-I-K-E-L. So he's actually a top tier cue builder among probably maybe top 10 cue builder in the world. And I have here is a Brazilian rosewood David Keuchel cue that has quite a lot of ivories in this cue. So the unique thing about this cue is that everything that David built is very precise. So the alignment of the inlays, there's quite a lot of inlays on this, along with the ring work. Everything aligned perfectly. Right, so the shaft qualities and everything for these cues are generally very high. Like in terms of the better cue builder itself, you can see that the straight grains on the shaft wood, it's very consistent. So high-end cue builder generally, if you're buying cues that are about $2,000-3,000 from a custom cue builder, generally the cue itself is the wood itself, the shaft wood itself is the most important piece of the cue itself. Like the quality of the shaft wood, the type of tip you use, right, and then also the taper of the cue is generally very unique. And the Keuchel cue has been my best playing cue because I usually like ivory joint. So it has 5/16/14 joint. So each type of cue have different type of joint to it. This one is 5/16/14, which generally we refer to the Schoen type joint. And the Southwest is 3/8/11. Right, so the ivory joint gives it a cleaner, crisper hit, and you can feel a little bit better. Right, and then again, all the ivory inlay on this is, it makes the cues. This is a little bit more fancy cue that generally people don't like to play with because you want to keep it simple, like the Southwest cue. So that's the one that I have here, and I only use one of the shaft. The other one is fairly brand new that I have on there. The other thing to go through, I mentioned the tip is very important. So for the Keuchel, for example, I have a Dennis Searing position tip, which is a hard tip that plays really good, and I also have a Kamui Clear Kamui Clear medium tip on one of that shaft. On the Southwest one, I also have a Kamui Clear that I had on that shaft for a while now. So at some point, I'm probably going to switch out to using the Dennis Searing. The last cue that I have in my bag is the brake cue. So I've been experimenting with all kinds of brake cue. The Mez, Predator BK3s, there's a lot of them, and the one that I'm settling down is the newer one that just came out from Predator, and this is the BK Rush. So the BK Rush has a carbon fiber shaft that is pretty good, and I think is designed specifically for braking. And when you brake with it, this cue is about maybe 17.5 ounce, so it gives you the feel of the stiffness of a heavy cue, but the weight of a light cue. So you allow for faster movement and allow you to brake much better. And on top of that, I also have a Revo 12.9 shaft that I use that I'm experimenting to play with, depending on, again, the condition of the tournament. And I've been using Revo for 2 days now, and I kind of like it. So I'm trying to figure out, if I should try to customize that for my other cues that I have. So as what you can see here is really the cue that I have in my bag that I rotate, because usually I have, I think like most players that have a lot of cues on them, they generally try to rotate the cues every often, depending on how comfortable they are with the cue and the equipment they play with, depending on condition and whatnot. So that's all I have right now in my bag. So along that, I can go through the accessory, but a lot of accessory I have is generally stuff that I try to stuff in my bag, like the scale, which allows me to weigh the weight of the cue. So the weight of cue is also very important, because the cue that I play with, generally the weight is about, the butt for the Kiko is about 15.8, and the Southwest is about 16. And the general weight that I'm always trying to look for when I play is about 19.5 overall for the cue. So between 19.2 to 19.5 is generally the ideal weight for my playing cue that I use. So every time I buy a cue, I want to make sure that the weight of it is within that range. And the other thing that's very important for me is the curvature of the tip. So I use this Navigator tip shaper from Japan, I think that they made. And this one allows me to basically ensure that the curvature of my tip on all my cues stays the same. So I like more of a dime radius, and I need to keep it a certain curvature. And we have a lathe here at Steinway as well, so it allows me to maintain my cue and making sure that the curvature of each of my tip are exact the same, because it's really important when you're playing pool that curvature is consistent. Because depending on the different type of curvature that someone changed tip on, it can actually affect your playability, because if it's flatter or if it's rounder, it hits different part of the cue ball. So it's really key that I maintain that. So beyond that, the general accessory you find in the case, I have my chalk. There's quite a lot of chalk that I tried, and right now I think I've been trying, there's a chalk that I got from a pro player out in out in Japan, Loli Wen. I forgot the name of the chalk, I apologize, but it was actually a pretty good chalk, so I have it on my chalker for a while. And beyond that, I have, I think, Tome. I think this one is this one is it's called the Great White. I never use it. Someone gave it to me, and it's sitting in my case for about maybe 2 years now, and I haven't touched it. I have joint protector, and most important are the tips. So these are tips that I got from a friend of mine who works with Dennis Searing, and these are what they call the new position tip that he got just recently. And these tips are really high quality tip that they are made basically out of Japan. So the quality of the tip on this one specifically, they're made out of pigskin, but they're a certain treated pigskin, and they're selected premium quality pigskin that he has made from Japan, and they have a certain hit to them that is very close to the Old Mori. So if anybody play with the Old Mori, I usually play with the medium hard. They're the closest one that I found that are to the medium hard Mori that I like. So they're really, really great quality tip. And I have a bunch of other ones like the Kamui that I use. There's Navigator in here. There's also my own type of tip that I use that I have made in Japan. We call it CM360 tip. So those are tip I keep on hand just in case, if I need to change my tip on my cue, or if someone want me to change tip for them. Sometimes I do a little work here at Steinway for them. And on top of that, I have a bunch of ferrule. So these are my Carter ferrule that a friend of mine from Taiwan gave me. I have 2 of them, and I haven't used them yet, but they're synthetic micarta that they put together, and so micarta ferrule is very sought after, especially the one that has asbesto in them, which is not ideal, but I have a bunch of those there. Beyond that, there's a shot pad I have in there for ages I don't use, so that's actually for for shot that I miss, I write down the key shot that I miss. Usually I jot them down in a page. And what it does is that, these shot pads are pretty cool if you can get them. They basically allow you to sort of, diagram shot that you miss, and so you can remember the key shot that you miss, and you can practice it over and over again. But I haven't done that in a while.
I don't really think you need that.
Yeah, you'll be surprised. There's so many creative shot when you're playing that comes up that you either do or someone get lucky on you and you can see the shot. So you can learn from it. So ideally you want to keep in there if I have it. And I have my pencil in there to draw that out as well, just in case. So the most important thing also is I have on my Witten case. So this Witten case is a very special case for me because I bought off a gentleman that was playing Assassin's Creed. So he has a logo on Assassin's Creed on there, which I thought was really cool. And then I have a bunch of charm. So these charm are from my mom. She went to China and she got them from some temple, and I mean, I've always been a lucky player, so I figure having
You just
these
need
shiny
more luck,
shoes- Yeah, I need more luck because it helps, when you're playing pool tournament. You can play good, but you need a little bit of help, I need a little roll sometime in order to win tournaments. So, and then of course I have my, I don't even shot pad or whatever this is here. It's like, I think it's a burnisher. And beyond that, I think that's all the component I have in my case.
I notice you also have, what are those, shaft cleaners?
Yeah, those are shaft cleaner for the Revo, which I haven't touched yet. And I finally experienced them. I was playing today, and they actually got sticky, which is weird. I never experienced that. I thought, they were very smooth and you didn't really need anything to clean. So now I know why they have those wipe. It's generally to wipe it down to remove any grimes or stuff on there. Otherwise, it feels, especially when it's humid, it makes it hard for you to have that smooth stroke that, they have on the shaft itself. So ideally, you should wear a glove, which I have, but I haven't used this in like 6 years. So I don't feel comfortable with the glove right now yet. So I have to try a different glove in the future. Yeah. So, so beyond that, I think that's really all the component that I have. And, as I said, depending on day and month, I try to rotate my cue every 2-3 weeks just so I can give a chance to test the cues in tournament for the other cues I have in my collection. So.
Is there a particular cue that you always go back to?
Yeah, there's one that I've used that I play really good with that I had for like the last 15 years has been my main playing cue. But I usually don't bring that one out because I play too good with it, and if I play too good, they're going to raise my handicap. So, not to try
Being
to
careful.
You got to be careful with it. So I only bring that cue out when I play like a bigger tournament, and that's the cue I play with. And it was custom made for me. That is very similar to my Gus Zambodi that I had a while ago. And the shaft was actually made by Dennis Searing, so it's a really good playing shaft. And a friend of mine made that cue for me in Tulsa, Oklahoma. His name is Joey Weinstock, and it was a beautiful cue that replica. It was a replica of my old Gus, and it's a cue that I won and beat quite a lot of pros even up playing with. So I mean, I was happy with that cue, and I had it for years. I can't sell it even if I wanted to. So, and then beyond that, I have about maybe 15 to 20 cues at home. Some of them are generally higher end cues, like, very flashy cues, like, the high end bender that I have is like, is what we call the block cues, or basically the box cue, they call it. And that cue is about maybe 10,000. And then I have like high end McDaniel cues. I got a few Southwest cues at home. I got a 9-pointer, and I have a wrapless one. And generally my collection of cues, I used to have like 40, 50, but now I'm down to about maybe 15, 20 cues. And I always try to play with them regardless of what they are, whether they're high-end or whatnot. They're meant to be played with, so I try to bring them out and test them in tournament. So I tried all the tournament, but it seems like, now the latest one that I'm trying, of course, is the Revo, is the newest one. And I found the shaft for the Predator that doesn't make that, those mechanical noise. A lot of Revo shaft, it has that hollow sound to it. But so amazingly, I found one that doesn't make that sound. So I'm trying to learn and use this new shaft here. And so I'm going to be trying to play more with the Revo than the high-end cue. So I might have to put these away if I get used to it. So that's all I have, I think, for the cue in my bag now.
Okay, well,
Yep.
thank you for speaking with us and
Okay.
showing us what you have in your case.
No problem.
Thank you for watching the Megabucks What's in Your Cue Case. Thank you, Steinway Billiards, for having us here, and thank you, Duc Lam, for showing us what's
No
in your
problem.
case.